Have you been trying to draw a realistic side view of the human eye, but you can't? Or maybe it's difficult because you only have basic drawing tools. Well, in this video, you're going to learn how to draw a hyper-realistic side view of the human eye with the most basic pencils, paper, and eraser. So that's coming up. So I will list down the equipment in the description below. Okay, so let's start out now. Okay, so as usual, we start with the sketch. You can see the eye displayed on top there. That was my reference image, man's eye. So you always start with try to come up with the sketch. So the sketch, I was using a HB pencil. That's the pencil you're seeing there. That's the one I use for the sketch. And pretty basic, nothing difficult. Just try to make a shape of the eye just to help you with where you're going to shade, where you're going to paint, and all that. But just don't put any pressure on yourself. Just draw as you see. Yeah, no pressure. You can make mistakes. You can always rub again. There's nothing to complain about or to feel a fuss about or just to get excited about. It's just draw what you see. So just make sure you have this light touch on the paper, because this is A4 paper, by the way. Then that's HB pencil, like I mentioned before. So as you draw, just have that light touch on the paper, because you don't want to draw very bold, whereby rubbing will be a problem. It will stick on the paper still even if you rub, so you don't want that. So you just have that soft touch when drawing for the sketch. Yeah. And you can see now we're going right below the you have the lower eyelid. Just trying to draw through the lower eyelid, just to make sure that we have that sketching. So let's be sure that we have all the sketches that we need. And you can now erase when you feel your sketch is maybe getting a little out of hand, but you can still control it. Yeah. Otherwise, the only tip is, at first, please sketch. Just do the sketch at first, then you'll be okay. Sketch at first, and then you can advance to further techniques that I'll be sure to tell you about as we go in this tutorial. And please let me know if you love these long form tutorials where there's no time lapse, or if you'd like a time lapse but still because I feel maybe if I keep it short you might like it. Maybe if I keep it long like this you might like it, but to keep it short it's a time lapse. Excuse me. So yeah, I think the feedback would be good. I would just like to know if you like the long forms or the time lapses. So now we're curving in with the eyeball, just to give more depth to the structure of the sketch. Yeah. Now this is the point when you can start adding in color, because now you see the sketch is already done. We have fully done the sketch. Now that's the sketch that I felt confident with, that it is very accurate as to what I intended to draw and from what I was seeing from that reference image. So I continue on to draw through, and now we have moved away from the sketch. We're bringing in color because we're comfortable with the sketch. Yeah. And again, just be on your just be at ease. Don't feel pressured, don't feel anything like that. Just draw as good as you can. Just try to follow that sketch, because the sketch is the basis and it will give you everything that you need. So bringing in color now, all you look at what color is there on the eye. So here, when you look closely, you have that orange pink kind of looking light brown color, has that ice cream color. So you can very well tell which colors you can mix, because here it's all about mixing colors, and it's all about detecting which color would look great on its own or when mixed, and that's all. Just mixing of colors and seeing which one can work alone. Yeah. So again, you shade through with the color pencil right where you need color to be. You just shade through. Right now we're on the upper eyelid, so just shade through. Okay. So right now I was just trying to make a scenery for the eye, just the area, just to create a balance in color with the whole area, so that when we bring in the eye features, it will look much more real. Because if you just leave it the eye alone, no eyelid, no nothing, it won't really look that good. So you also shade in the surrounding just to try to give depth of color and of a groundwork, like a background. Of course, you might not have to go to the eyebrow, but at least just give it more background. So now we're going to the lower eyelid. You can see the way I'm changing up the colors there. We had orange, now we're switching up to pink, and just trying to give that, that natural color on the lower eyelid, right there at the boundary of the eyeball and the lower eyelid. So just like that, and you see now we are mixing up on the upper eyelid, we're mixing up the orange and the pink to try to give it as close as possible the natural color that is in that image, the reference image. So we're mixing up, you see, we're looking at which colors can mix well and how can we mix them well. And that's the whole editing there, but there's nothing complicated. Just blend them, just blend the colors. Okay, I had a skip in the video there, but we continue. When I was recording this, I had a little bit of challenges. I had to stop, start, space. So forgive me for that. Okay, so now we're going in with pink. That's for the lower eyelid. Just still trying to get that color in. So again, let's revise this. Phase one. What do we do phase one? It's a sketch. Now when you're sketching, make sure you don't put pressure on yourself. No pressure on yourself, nothing like perfect. All you want to do is just draw out what you're seeing. The best way you can draw it. The best way you can put it out, because it's going to determine how the final product will be. And whatever you put in that eye, how it's going to look. So yeah, that's the first part, sketch. And when you're sketching, make sure you don't press too much, because if you press too much and you try to erase, if maybe you made a mistake, it's going to be difficult to erase. And then the second part is where you start adding in color when you're comfortable with your sketch. Start adding in color and you start making everything vivid. No more sketch. You start putting in the bold lines. That's the second part. And we're still on the second part here, still trying to bring in color. Okay, a little bit of a mix up there. Okay. And you see, as I try to put in this color, or let me just say, as we try to fit in different colors into this image, we try to mix that and that and that color. We are also vigilant on not making bold color tone in terms of shading with color. You can see the way I'm doing it lightly, like the way we were doing the pencil sketch there. Just do it lightly, don't press too much. It's the same way you shade with the color pencils. When you're sure of your color, that's when you go in completely. And you also notice what parts of the image are dark, what parts of the image are light. And as you can see on top there, the image, certain parts of what I've drawn are dark, certain parts are light, and the dark parts are soon to be darkened even more. So let's follow that. Okay, so now we're going in to make the lower eyelid darker, make it much more dark than it was before. Why? We're looking at reference. Now we go even on top, we make a scenery, trying to make that area look good. So no pressure here. It's still just trying to make the scene look good, giving more depth to the region around the actual eyeball and actual eye itself. So no pressure again, just draw it out. So this is a thing that I would like to put across. You can actually fit in your pencil. You can bring in your pencil, you mix it with the color pencils, and that will just help with making the drawing look much more sharp. As you can see here for the lower eyelid eyelashes. Lower eyelid eyelashes, I was just using a HB pencil. Nothing severe, just HB pencil. And we're doing quite a good job. You can see just how. So now we're bringing in bold, the realism. This is where you can bring in bold, which is like, I can say the third part. So the first part is the sketch, light sketching. The second part is bring in color and do a vivid sketch with the color to brighten up the mood for the whole drawing, which we have done. And now we're bringing in bold stamps, or I like to call them that, or what we can say, just making everything dark, bringing in the prominent features. Yeah, I think that's the better way I could put it. Bringing in the prominent features. So the features that will make the eye light up, such as the eyelashes, like what we're doing here, very important. That's the third part. Bring them out. They will help you see where you're going wrong or where we're going straight, and if at all we're getting to that realism. Yeah, and already you can see that it's turning out to be an eye. Yeah. And like we said, this is the part where we come to making everything bold. So we want to shed things to a bold, to it's bold enough. We're not scared anymore. We know we're comfortable with the sketch, and so we're going in making everything bold. So that's the third part. And again, we keep up with making everything bold. So nothing difficult here. Just make everything bold as possible. Because now we're done with the sketch, and yeah. Just to make sure everyone is listening, so I just like to repeat myself. I repeat myself, get that, and just like that. And now we're going in much more darker, even in the lower eyelid, because now we're not afraid. We're making everything dark. We're comfortable with the sketch. And these are the phases that when you reach, you don't have to worry about the drawing. You have to worry about the balance of color now. That's all. Because the drawing is set, but the color isn't yet to its max where you can be comfortable and say, I'm done with this. I've done a good job. So not yet. And so this is good for beginners, intermediate also. I'm not sure professionals would learn much from this, unless maybe they might find something, but more for the beginners and the intermediate artists. Yeah, they can learn a lot. And you just continue with the sketch. It's like that. Don't get demotivated. In fact, I'll tell you a secret. The secret is, whenever you're drawing, after the sketch and so on, you reach a point where, when you're done with the sketch, I can say this point where we are now, where we're just drawing the lines and making sure the wrinkles are showing and so on. This point is a point where you just feel good. You already feel you're done drawing. You just want to balance things out and make things look proper. So we're still on the third part, the bold prominent features out. Yeah. Still just trying to make everything prominent. Nothing difficult here. Trying to create more environment. We're trying to create more room. Just to make it look more realistic as compared to the one on top there. The reference image. Okay, now we move on to phase 4. So the fourth phase is now bringing in the pupil. Iris, pupil, these are the parts that will bring out the most. So the pupil and the iris, well, they'll bring out the most of the eye. So we do it also looking at the color. You see there's a green kind of color right in the side, so we're working from outside going inside. That's how we're going to deal with this. And you can see I'm mixing up also with the HB pencil. It's not only the color pencils, but even HB can help out. And we're making sure that outer part, that part of the iris, the outer part, we're making sure that it's not fully, we're not giving it a boundary. We're not making it sharp in boundaries as compared also same way it's done even in same way it looks even in the reference image. Just don't give it a boundary of a circle or exact shape. No, just make it look like it's being shaded, like it's a soft shading in the boundary. That's what I mean. And then we can dig into the pupil. That's the second thing that you do. So you first come up with the boundary of the iris, and then you dig into the pupil. When you dig into the pupil, what this does is it gives you now a full view of how you can maneuver drawing the rest of the inside of that iris, or even the entire eyeball. Yeah. So we just darken the pupil as much as we can. As you can see here, just darken it as much as we can, but we leave the light that is being reflected there. We still leave that light there. Just make sure you darken the pupil and you try to follow it as much. And you saw what we did. We didn't draw any sketch of these parts, the inner eyeball part. So I started with the pupil in the sketch form, little sketch, and then I made it dark when I felt comfortable with what it looked like. So, you see now, we're working outside. We're working from inside, now we're moving out because we already made the boundary of the iris. So it's going to help us in knowing how far we should go out and where we can start from the inside, because we have the pupil from which we can branch out our start point, and then we have the end point, which is right before the boundaries of the iris. So you see why drawing that iris boundary and then the pupil is good, because it brings you to a point where you can accept and appreciate which parts of the inside of the eye, the eyeball, the parts we can see, the iris and the pupil, which parts are left if those two are already targeted, already drawn. And that gives us a way to shed properly. This will make you drawing the eye, this will make drawing the eye for you very simple. I can promise you that. Okay, I hope you can see how we're going about this. We're now trying to add more. It's trying to fit things in. Anything that we missed, maybe a mistake, try to shed through. Yeah, and also erase a few. So we're still trying to make colors prominent and making the drawing look more prominent, and you know what I mean, darken the parts that are looking brighter than they should be. Doing that can take a whole time. You can be doing it while you're drawing even other structures. While you're drawing, you can put more emphasis on that dark area, just like that. So you don't just do it one time, because if you recall, we did this already, but now we're back at it. That's how it is. That's how art is. Until the whole piece is done, really you can't say you're done with anything. And you see now we're trying to get back in with pink. Now looking at the color in the inside of the eye, that's the surface of the eyeball. You can see that there's this pink looking purple kind of color with these strings, little veins, blood vessels. And that's what we're not trying to fit in, to give it that prominent realism. And again, judging by the color, you see, you don't have to make them super vivid. The strings of vessels, don't make them very vivid. You can see there in the reference image or reference photo, they don't look very clear. So we try to just give them that balance. I'm sorry about the color of the video, it's getting bluey. I'm so sorry about that. Lighting isn't favorable enough. I hope you can still just bear with me, and so as long as you can understand what we're doing here, I think I'll be happy with that. So remember, there are only 4 parts here to draw in the side view of a realistic eye. That's sketch, that's part 1, sketch, soft sketch. And then we go to part 2, which is coloration with pencil. And then part 3, prominent features with bold darkening. And then part 4, which is iris and pupil, work from outside inside. And pupil work from inside out. And I guess that's the final drawing. We made a little bit of a problem there. My eye is looking a little bit like it's looking up. You should be looking straight, but we got it still. See you next time. And subscribe. And for more videos, please let me know if you like these, so I can make more of the how to draw videos about different parts. We do portraits too, so let me know. Thank you. And God bless.